Hey fam, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Welcome to Plathville Season 4, Episode 2 recap. The title of this was I Took Things a Little Too Far. I don't really have much to say about this episode. I don't think we'll be here that long, but the way that they took forever to tell us what we already figured out in the last episode annoyed me a little bit. But let's go ahead and jump into the episode. So, Nathan and Ethan are doing something that Ethan loves, which is acting like a big kid. They are riding scooters around the town, having a great time, doing tricks, going through water all during the night, and it looks like fun. They have a whole bunch of those scooters out here. They've been out here for years, and you guys, I have yet to get on one. I remember when the pandemic happened and my father came to visit during the summer, and he and my son were out, and my dad was doing all types of tricks and all that other stuff on it. And me, I didn't even bother touching it. Like, I don't know why, because I do have great balance, but it's something about how fast that thing goes that makes me nervous. But while watching their scene, even though he was acting like a big kid having a ball, I did find myself smiling. So we later see Ethan goofing around again. This time it's around the house. He seems to have a lot of time on his hands now because when they decided to move, he quit his job and he has not gotten another one since. He isn't really worried about working right now because he has savings and he says he has some stock. And I'm going to add, he also has this show. I love how they try to act like they're not getting paid by this, but we know enough to know that y'all are getting paid by this. So you can add the show on to it. And this is now season 4. So I'm thinking that that check may be a little bit bigger for you. At this point, he's enjoying being in the area, but what he's missing most is being able to work on his cars, while Olivia, in my opinion, seems to be enjoying the fact that he doesn't have them. Now, she could go without him bothering her while she's working, but I think she enjoys him being around a little bit more because, as she said in her testing, one of the things that she loves with those 5 love languages is quality time. So, um, we find out that the Plaths aren't working because Mariah hasn't gotten any jobs out there either, but Olivia and her brother are. Easy fix to me is for them to get a job, but they don't need a job. Y'all don't worry about the background noise. The kids are out and playing, and I got to get this done. So, um, get a job. Even if it's not a full-time job, like get a part-time job, Ethan. Go work somewhere and do basic oil changes and things of that nature. But to be around the house, goofing off, playing with flippers and doing all those other things, I think at some point he's going to get bored. But that's my opinion. Tell me yours. So we go from all of that fun to something a little bit more serious because we see Mariah and Micah as they sit outside in one of the spots that she likes to go to by the water to talk. She claims that she's had a lot of things going on, that there's a bunch of times where she wanted to pick up the phone and call her brother, but she was terrified to let anyone in. Full transparency, I struggle with things like this. If I sense that something's wrong with you, I am not the friend that is going to keep asking what's wrong, what's wrong. You're either going to tell me or you're not. So when she's sitting there and she's struggling to get out her words to tell her brother what's going on, I found myself being very, very irritated because he's your brother. It shouldn't be a thing, in my opinion, where he had to go and seek out Max in order to find out what went on. I feel like he should have been able to come to his sister and she should have just been like, look, this is what he did. But that's not what happened. So we are reminded of how she struggled with opening up with Max in the past and how she eventually got to that place. And now she kind of feels betrayed because now that she has opened up, Max hurt her. Here's the thing, she is 19 years old. This is heartbreak. I understand. Unfortunately, a lot of people go through this. She is not alone. This is a common thing. So hearing her say that she feels like she will never be able to love someone again comes across as a little dramatic to me. But once again, I have to remember that she isn't a regular 19-year-old. It's hard for me to relate. It really, really is. So she says that Max is the best guy that she ever met and she will ever meet, that she cannot love someone after Max. He was her soulmate and she wanted to marry him. And I just feel like you felt all these things, but there were some other underlying issues there that you just did not tap into. Because the fact that while you all were having whatever conversation you were having and the whole situation about your clothing came up again, he had some insecurities there that I do not think that we saw a lot of on camera. So she doesn't want to tell anyone what happened, but she wants Max himself to say it. Micah feels like she should be able to tell the family, and if not the family, at least him, because he is family and they are supposed to be close. He does not want Mariah to cover up what happened. He could tell that she's covering it up. And he says, especially if it's a situation where Max mistreated her, she's basically protecting him and he sees it. So at her suggestion, he is going to talk to Max. Micah says, based on the way that they were and how he was supposed to come out here, and now all of a sudden he's not, he feels like the switch up happened so quickly, and that's because more than likely Max cheated. So I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know he's right. Max cheated. Spoiler alert. Probably should have said that first. Max cheated. So he and Max meet up. And he is crying even before he sees him. They made this so dramatic that, as I said earlier, it got on my nerves. He is nervous and disappointed in himself, and he hates that he hurt Mariah. Matter of fact, why don't we do this? Why don't we see him tell us these things for ourselves? Because, yeah, I'm going to make sure that I pause and stuff in between because I don't want any issues when it comes to copyright, but let's go.
Man, pretty bad.
Is he really crying, y'all? I just want to know, is he really crying? Because, it's a lot of deep breathing. It's a lot of, we're close. It's a lot of crying, but okay. Where are the tears? Do you see them? Because I don't see the tears. I see he got the red face, but where are the tears? Okay. I'll be quiet.
I have this buddy of mine that's a good bit older than you and I.
A good bit meaning retirement age. So keep that in mind when he's telling the story. And he is going to eventually say that, it was a retirement party, but a good bit older of a buddy, retirement age. Okay.
We used to work together, and we were kind of celebrating his retirement at his place. And he invited his lady friend over that I knew he liked. And so I was trying to be his wingman. And so I took.
He invited his lady friend. The way that he is going about telling this story could have been done so much faster. And he's still trying to be evasive and still trying to not really be in as much as he is. But yeah, let's continue. It's just a long explanation for something that could have been so much shorter.
A little too far. I was just flirting with her. And that led her to think that it was okay to try and kiss me.
I was flirting with this lady a whole bunch. I mean, I was trying to be a wingman. I was flirting. I don't understand how being a wingman equates to flirting, because if you're being a wingman, you're not flirting. Being a wingman means normally that you're there to support your friend so that your friend can get the girl. But you're flirting with the girl. Okay, so I'm being a wingman, and then out of nowhere, I was flirting with her, and she took it upon herself to kiss me. You made her feel like it was okay because of how you were interacting with her. And I have a feeling that it was much more than what he's saying because of how he's trying to make this seem like it wasn't really a big deal, which some may feel like a kiss isn't a big deal, but either way, it's betrayal, and it only happened a few weeks after her departure.
which she did. I told Mariah like all of this happened, and like an idiot, I said I'm proud of myself for not letting it go too far.
I all I did was kiss her. And I'm just proud of myself that all I did was kiss her, because I could have did so much more than kiss her. So give me more credit because all I did is kiss her. That's what it's giving. That's what that's giving to me. Okay, let's keep going.
She broke up with me, which is reasonably so.
Good for Mariah. Good for Mariah in choosing herself in that moment, even though she's struggling, even though I think that she wants him to prove himself to her, even though that she's going to miss him. Good that she decided that she knew her worth and she deserved more. Because if that's all it took, he's going to do far worse in other situations. He can't be trusted.
The biggest emotion I felt while he was telling me what happened was anger. Now it's not only betrayal on Mariah's part, but also on the friendship that we had.
That's a tough position to be in. It's tough to go from this person being like another brother to you, because even later on, Lydia makes a statement of how like Max became family. It's hard to go from that to this now. And if we're being real, Micah and Max seem to be legit friends. So this is a whole nother side. And Micah's handling himself well. I see a little bit of maturity in Micah this season so far. I mean, we're only in episode 2, but I'm just saying.
Most of us didn't think he was capable of that.
I understand if you don't really want anything to do with me, but I just asked that you be there for her.
Yeah, I love Mariah. She's the sister I'm closest to, and anytime she gets hurt, I get hurt too.
All right, enough of that for now. So I want you to make sure that you're there for her. I want you to make sure that you're there for her, because I'm not going to be there for her. So we go from that, which sounds all great. So, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here, y'all. Yeah, which sounds all great and everything, right? And then it turns into something else, because what we find out is that he cheated on her, yet he turned it into a subject about her clothing. Hold on a second. Let me skip forward to that and I'll be right back. Y'all ready?
Dived into, the clothes that she wears, and then that just kind of made me pissed off. And
why are you talking about the clothes that she wears based on the fact that you cheated on her? What does you cheating on her have to do with the clothes that she wears? A lot of people didn't see it for Max when he first came into the picture. And I see why, because this is a bunch of crap.
in my anger, we just erupted into a big argument. And I definitely said some things that were hurtful.
I'm going to stop it right there, because he tells us that he says some things that were hurtful, right? But he doesn't tell us what those things were. We don't find out what the hurtful things that he said. We just know, oh, he said some hurtful stuff. But what does that mean? What exactly did you say to her? I'm tired of the fluff piece, but that's a lot of what we got from Max. And to me, you don't get to do that. If you're going to come on camera and talk about it, then talk about it. If you can't handle this, then don't come on camera with it. So Micah isn't sure if he believes Max, and now he wants to talk to the other guy. I don't understand why he even needs to go that far. It's not time for you to do an investigation. They're done. Let it go. Micah calls Mariah and fills her in on what Max told him. They believe that he is sorry, but she feels like with the things that have come out and with what has happened and with the way that he spoke to her afterwards about her clothing and things of that nature, that she rather be single. She says she's not about to change who she is for a man. Good for you. Micah says what he wants is to make sure that he's there more, especially because he has other younger sisters and he wants them to grow up to be brave warriors. Um, Overall, as I said, they made that scene more than it needed to be. I think that Micah handled it correctly. I'm glad it didn't turn into some big macho thing where we both going to see who's, the more of a man. I think that what would have made this a lot easier for her, especially since she struggles with telling how she's feeling, is if she just sent out a mass text message letting her family know that she's no longer with the boy. So let's jump to Kim. Kimberly Plath is full of crap. She is in the car driving, telling us how hard this year has been for her, that she's done a lot of thinking and she's realized that she's not happy with her marriage. And Barry has a lot to do with why she's not happy. Of course, it has nothing to do with Kim and it's all on Barry. It's always everybody else's fault but Kim's. All right. She says Barry took her for granted. So she now wants him to do things around the house and to be more present and to stop taking her for granted. So she is starting off with him being more present when she herself hasn't been as present. She loves to tell us about how she homeschooled them and she did this and she did this and she did this. But y'all, when did we see her really teach them? We saw her set up and tell them to work on their workbooks and say that they needed to turn this in and turn this in. And she wrote some stuff on the board and told them to do this assignment. But we never saw the person who's supposed to be homeschooling them, homeschool them, which is part of the reason why a lot of them, well, we won't say a lot of them because all of them didn't have this case. But in some instances, people like Mariah struggled because I don't think she was getting enough one-on-one teaching. Everybody can't be self-taught. Some people need additional help. I don't know what it all looked like because she said that they didn't use a lot of technology. And if you're not really teaching them, how are they being taught? Anyways, so Barry calls Kim trying to figure out what the plans are for dinner. And she tells him that, maybe they could do spaghetti. And he's like, spaghetti? We've had spaghetti like 20 times in a month. She's like, we just had it last week, which is funny because I told my son this afternoon that I don't really feel like cooking, so I'm gonna make some spaghetti. I haven't made spaghetti in forever though, and I just heard him say that. I was like, oh, you're having it a whole bunch. We barely have it over here, but anyways, so she tells him, well, just have Amber. Do you feel like having tacos? He's like, yeah. She's like, okay, well, just have Amber take out the ground beef for the tacos and cook it. So before, Lydia was the cook. And now that Amber is the next oldest because Lydia is working more out of the home, she's next in line to do what in my mind her mother should be doing. I'm not saying don't teach your children how to cook because I think it's important. When I was in the kitchen as early as 6 years old helping my mom cut stuff. Yes, she had me cutting onions at 6. Come from a Jamaican household, you're going to get in the kitchen. Anyways, my point is, with that being said, you went from one child doing it because first it was the oldest girl who got married. Then because she got married, it jumped down to the next oldest girl, which should have been Mariah, but Mariah wasn't trying to do anything. So it jumped down to Lydia. Now Lydia's out working. Up, Amber, it's your turn. Tag, you're it. Kim, you act like you do so much, but there were other people who were helping as well. So she says she won't be joining them because she's going to have a salad and she's going to be at the dance studio meeting with people. She reminds him to tell the girls to do their schoolwork and to check on animals. And Barry is like, okay, I'm beginning to see this is going to be my new role. He's realizing his role has changed. In my opinion, Kim is very much so pulling an Olivia Plath on Barry Plath because Kim is switching it up and Barry did not sign up for this version of Kim. Barry tells us that they are struggling. He is trying to make this work. He is missing companionship because now at this point, Kim is out of the house more than ever before. He is now seeing how much she did, more like how much she and the others did, but I get his point. One thing that I will always say is shout out to the mamas who stay at home and make sure that the household is run. That too is a job. It's an even bigger job to be molding young minds and to have to sit there and teach them. And then you got the ones who do both because they're working from home as well as providing childcare for their kid, because daycare and all that stuff is so high right now. It's like you're paying a mortgage. Well, let me say rent, because sometimes rent's higher than the mortgage. It's like you're paying for a major bill. So he's seeing how much she did and how much it matters. Kim, to me, is the victim in this episode because Barry is giving her props while all Kim is doing is complaining about how Barry has not shown up for her. She says that Barry has neglected her, that Barry made her feel worthless, that he is the head. That's what they in the church, the man is the head of the household. But as the head of the household, he's supposed to nurture her and care for her. And he hasn't done that. She's rewriting history. I think that he has. I think that there may have been times where she may have wanted more, but did you vocalize that you wanted more? You're telling us that you said that you did, but I don't buy it because I feel like Kim is a liar. Now, Barry is too. We're not going to act like Barry isn't too, but Barry is admitting some of his faults. We've yet to see Kim admit hers. So Micah and Mariah head to Cairo to visit the family. She says they were raised that you find your person, you court them, and then you get married. So she's nervous about letting her parents know that stuff didn't work out with Max. They arrive at the house and the kids come running out. Are they always like by the window looking? Because anytime anybody comes up, it's like they can't wait to get out the house. So Micah says his parents are different people now. Before, it would be a thing where they wouldn't come to the house unless they both had one another. And now things have changed. Their parents are now at a place where the relationships are more important than their guidelines, right? So Kim announces to them as they sit down that she's going to start teaching a line dancing class next month. And they're looking at her like, okay, we didn't even know you knew how to line dance and you're going to be teaching it. All right. Lydia arrives. She says that she started working at a bank. Lydia asks, about Max and when he's coming, and Mariah struggles to tell them that she is no longer in a relationship with Max. So they have to ask her, are they together? And she starts to cry and say that they are no longer together. They all support her, which means a lot, she says, because it would not have been like that before. Kim hugs her and lets her know that she's beautiful and talented and she'll be good at whatever she does. I think that she needs to know that she should be focusing on herself right now. I don't think she ever needed to go from being in that household to being into any type of serious relationship. I think that Mariah still to this day does not know who she is. She's young enough. She has time to figure it out, but her last worry should be a man. But there's a void there that I feel like she tries to fill with others. And Max was able to provide that for her. So she tells us that Kim does, that they liked Max, that he made a promise that he would never leave her. And she doesn't know who made the decision. They're thinking more than likely it was him. Either way, she thought it would last. I think that that's a lot to say for them to be so young and for Mariah to be in a space where she doesn't know herself. I understand that there are a lot of people who are young and they grow and evolve with one another. I have a cousin that got married when she was 18. Her and her husband are still together. She's 44 now. So it's not like it's impossible. I just think it takes a special type of person or special type of people to work on evolving while they're together. The other thing with this is Mariah was so sheltered that that's a whole nother piece to it. So Barry is thinking when he hears this about him and Kim, and he, really wants them to work through things. Excuse me. So we get to Lydia and Mariah. Lydia is the prime example to me of why you do not rush to introduce your person to your family, because your family gets attached as well. So Lydia and Mariah have sister time, and she says that there were times where she would talk to Mariah here and there, and she could tell that something was going on, but she didn't want to pry. She was just waiting for Mariah to tell her. So she is crying and saying she's not okay. Lydia hugs her and cries with her. She gets up to get some tissue, and then she's like, I hope you don't mind me asking this, but was this a mutual decision? Because everyone is thinking that Max broke up with her. Mariah tells her, that she had to do what was right without the pressure of feeling like she needed to be someone else. Basically, I did it. Lydia, we find out, has still been texting Max, even recently. And she asks her sister if she could still hang with him. I was a little surprised because Lydia is normally the most thoughtful. But then I feel like because Mariah said that she made the decision, Mariah made it sound more like they grew apart. I think that if Mariah would have told Lydia that Max hurt me, or if Mariah would have said he cheated on me, or whatever way where she didn't just make it seem like, oh, we just grew apart, oh, it was a mutual decision, oh, this, it would have been different. And I think she would have been more supportive of her. I just feel like at some point, Mariah, be honest and say exactly what it is. It's going to be on TV anyways, so your parents are going to find out. If you can't verbalize it, text it. And that's all I got. Y'all let me know what you thought about this episode. Sorry. What you staring at me for? Y'all let me know what you thought about this episode. Like the video as it helps the channel. I'm about to go because I'm being summoned, apparently. I hope you guys have a great day. Until next time, peace.